What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to do a comparison of the FansToys Smokey with the X-Transbots Overheat, both versions of a masterpiece Dragstrip. These did come apart a couple years apart, so the X-Transbots came out in 2019, and then there was a long delay between their release of their Menasor. The trailer just got released, and then this guy just came out. It's dated 2020 on the package, but it actually came out in January of 2021. So we're going to take a comparison. As I always say with these comparisons, this is my opinion. I try to be as objective as possible when judging these in different criteria, but of course there's subjectivity involved. So if I pick one or the other and you prefer a different one, or maybe even another one that I'm not comparing, such as DX9, then you win. You get the one that you like. I do these comparisons so people can decide which figure they want to go with, which set maybe they want to go with, and hopefully that helps some people. Without further ado, let's get started, and we'll start off with accessories. Here are the accessories that come with these two guys. Very similar, but some slight differences. So they both come with alternate face, although I much prefer the FansToys alternate face, but they both come with that. They both come with a little driver that can sit in the vehicle mode, which we'll look at when we get to vehicle mode. And they both come with guns, but the FansToys, of course, comes with two, and so they are going to win the accessories because you do get two guns. You get one with the X-Transbots. Unfortunately, they showed images with two, but they only give you one. So we're going to give accessories to FansToys. Next, we'll talk about the cartoon accuracy. In order to do that, we're going to put the G1 cartoon here in the middle so you can take a look. And this one kind of surprised me. I actually think X-Transbots captured that cartoon look a little bit better. And the main reason for that is the shading, the color of this cockpit area. The FansToys does have a two-tone, but unfortunately the yellow here is a very slight difference from the regular yellow. It is darker, but in this one they almost went with a brown, and that definitely matches better with the cartoon. So we're going to give cartoon accuracy to X-Transbots. Next, we're going to talk about the sculpt on these guys, and this is where FansToys sets themselves apart almost every time. So as you look around this figure, the cleanliness of the FansToys just shines. I mean, there's nothing on the back. The FansToys got, or the X-Transbots, all sorts of stuff hanging off. You actually end up with the roll bar sticking out here. Mine actually broke off. We'll talk about that later when we get to build. But my roll bar here fell off, so I'm able to fold this down, but normally you'd have this up like this, and so that sticks out. You've got these parts that stick out. The legs are pretty untidy. You've got this piece here. It's not even painted all that well. The die cast kind of shows through, and then you got this kind of mess on the back here because of those roll bar pieces. So when it comes to sculpt, I'm going to give that to FansToys. I think it's just so clean. It's so crisp. Everything folds up and folds away. And it really just looks better. It's just the sculpt looks better. So we're going to give sculpt to FansToys. Next, we'll talk about the paint on these figures. So let's actually take a look. So on the X-Transbots, you do have some paint. You have these thighs are painted yellow. I believe this plastic is painted. It's got kind of a sheen to it. It's hard to tell. I believe it's painted. This midsection is not painted here. The arms are partially painted, so the top part of the arms are not painted, but then this bottom part's got that same metallic sheen. The face and the head is obviously fully painted. Here in the back, in the car mode, and we'll look more in the vehicle mode, but this is fully painted, all these dark yellow parts. And we just had something fall off here. But overall, it is pretty well painted. FansToys is pretty much 100% painted. Every surface you can see is painted. This is chromed, but it is still paint. The head is fully painted, arms, legs. The only parts that aren't are these die-cast pieces you see in the arms and in the feet and in the shoulders. So we're going to give paint to FansToys. They just have a ton of it. It's also really well done. I've transformed this a few times. I haven't had any paint issues. So we're going to give paint to FansToys. Next, we'll talk about the build. And this is where X-Transbots really loses a lot of points. It's got a lot of issues, a lot of build issues. I've talked about it on some of my live streams and some of my other videos, but I've broken 3 different pieces on this, not by user error, they're just not well built. So these roll bar pieces are broken off. You can see they're not even there. This piece, you actually have to shave a little part of it. I did shave that, so luckily avoided breaking it, but a lot of people broke that because they weren't aware that that was mismolded. There is another part, which is this arm right here. So my arm is actually broken. You can't tell, but it happens to break right here. There's a mushroom peg that's very weak, and as you're transforming it, it does tend to break there. There's also some issues with the joints here. These pins are not that well done. So a lot of issues with build quality on the X-Transbots. Granted, it is much cheaper. We'll talk about cost a little bit later. But with the FansToys, it is solid as a rock. There's nothing that is loose. Everything feels solid. It just is heavy. It's chunky. It feels good when you're transforming it. So we're going to give build to FansToys. It's a no-brainer for me. Next, we'll talk about articulation on these two. So to do that, we have to go through all of the articulation. So the X-Transbot, the head is on a ball joint, goes down to there, up to there, rotates all the way around, and it does get the side-to-side movement. Shoulder rotates all the way around, rotates up to there on that joint there. Rotation at the bicep. Double jointed elbow gets you the full bend. Rotation at the wrist. Fingers are not articulated, but you do get a single pin for these fingers. Rotation at the waist, as well as an ab crunch here. That gets you all the way down to there. This does separate. That's part of the transformation for the combined mode. So you do have that separation, but it does have this ab crunch as well. Hip skirt here, leg goes up to there, back to there, a little bit hindered by this back piece here. And then out to the side, all in friction. Rotation at the thigh. A ratcheted knee gets you 90 degrees. Ankle tilt out to there, and a toe tilt as well. Going to the FansToys, you have the head is on a ball joint. It's a little bit more limited in terms of its movement, up and down, not as much, but it does rotate all the way around. Again, it is a little bit hindered, but you can get it all the way around. The ears do fold in and out, but I don't know if you want to count that as articulation. Rotation at the shoulder. Shoulder goes up to there. You can also get it on this joint up to there, so you can get a really high rotation there. Rotation at the bicep. Single jointed elbow only gets you 90 degrees instead of the full bend there. Rotation at the wrist, fully articulated fingers on this one. Rotation at the waist, no ab crunch on the FansToys, unfortunately. You get the hip skirt goes up, the leg goes up to there, back to there, out to the side. Rotation at the thigh. Single jointed knee gets you 90 degrees. You do have an ankle tilt and a toe tilt if you want it. So while the legs are pretty much identical, the FansToys happens to be missing the ab crunch as well as a little bit of movement on the head. So we're going to get, and also as well, the double jointed elbows. So we're going to give X-Transbots the articulation. I think they have a more wide range of motion on X-Transbots. Next, we'll talk about the engineering and the transformation. So again, this is where FansToys usually has an issue, but here today they have produced a figure that is fun to transform and really comes out clean. So let's talk about engineering first. For me, again, no-brainer that FansToys engineering is just excellent. They've hidden away everything. Everything has hidden its smooth surfaces. You don't see a lot of kibble and parts hanging off. So we're going to give engineering to FansToys. We'll also talk about transformation. So transformation, as far as fun factor and just ease and, difficulty and frustration, again, X-Transbots is the one that has an extremely frustrating transformation to the point where things are breaking on this guy. So again, I'm going to give transformation as well to FansToys. I just think they nailed this figure on both engineering and transformation. So here they both are in their alt modes. They are similar in some ways, but different. They both come with a driver that you can place in there optionally. So we'll put that in so you can see that. And they both fit around their hands around the steering wheel, which is cool. I like that. I do like the contrast of the white driver on the yellow versus the fully yellow and red. The contrast on the yellow again makes the FansToys look a little bit too yellow. In person, in front of me, it definitely looks good. I do like it, but I really do prefer the contrast of the X-Transbots. However, when I look at the vehicle mode overall, I definitely think that the X-Transbots look more like a toy car, whereas this looks more like, it could be an actual vehicle. I don't know. There's some other things too. There's the fact that this splits for combined mode actually caused a little bit of issue here in the vehicle mode. It doesn't quite stay together, and there's a lot of gappiness and holes. You can see through that figure. There's a lot of just gaps. The FansToys is just one solid chunk. There really isn't much going on in terms of gaps. And so that makes it kind of feel a little more professional and a little bit more of a adult collectible versus this, which feels more like a toy. So they are with their guns attached. So they both have that feature. I do like the fact that the FansToys comes with 2 guns. It actually looks really nice on there. The X-Transbots just looks a little bit like an afterthought, where this just looks more purposeful overall, including the driver. The driver just looks more purposeful. So while I think X-Transbots was a good attempt, for me personally, I prefer the alt mode on the FansToys. So here are the combined modes, and we do know how this one goes together because we've already gotten the trailer and we got some reviews out there. I haven't gotten mine yet, but we know that it splits like this and attaches the arm. We don't know exactly how this goes, but we can go by pictures, and I'm pretty sure this is how the combined mode for the FansToys goes, and you can see it rotates there. There is a die cast piece right here, and that piece kind of moves on its own. It's pretty neat. So I do like that this is one solid piece. It gives me a little bit of confidence that the combined mode is going to be solid. Again, we don't know for sure what the combined mode looks like, but I can tell you this is very likely how the arm goes. Right, so it's going to attach here onto the arm, and I can see even some slots here to attach it. And then same here, you're probably going to use these to attach it. So me personally, I think that the FansToys has the better combined mode. It just feels more solid. This especially feels very flimsy. I know it attaches, using tabs, but this just feels a little more solid, a little bit better well built. And then the hardware, having it be one piece, really quite ingenious. The design of that is very, very, innovative. So we're going to give combined mode to FansToys. And the final factor here is the cost. Before I get into this, I just want to say I use the retail prices off of my channel partner, Toy Dojo. Retail price is the original price these are released at, not an aftermarket price, not the Chinese price, not the Amazon or whatever other place, just American retail prices. The reason I use that is it's too hard to use aftermarket prices because they fluctuate up and down. It's just too hard to be consistent. So for retail price, the FansToys Smokey is $130, and the X-Transbots Overheat is $70. In some places, $75. So we're going to give cost to X-Transbots. So final thoughts on this comparison. You can see the score there. FansToys wins pretty easily here. And I kind of thought that was the way it was going to go because I do have some issues with this figure, and that has affected its quality. For example, this arm is very loose. Some of the joints are loose. I do have a lot of just little QC issues that prevent me from really making this my definitive Dragstrip. Now, at the time it came out, this was the one and only Masterpiece Dragstrip. I think they did a pretty good job. I really do like the colors they used. The breakup of the colors is one big difference between these two figures. And while I did give cartoon accuracy over to X-Transbots, I think FansToys could have used a slightly darker shade for the yellow. That really would have set them just way above, and I think it would have also been more cartoon accurate. As far as the robot modes and vehicle modes go, I think I personally prefer FansToys, but I totally understand, the love for this guy here. So that's really it for today. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I helped you with this review, and we'll see you next time.